Hello. Is this gonna work? Good morning. We are live. So it's Paint Your Style Day. It's slightly earlier than normal. This is normally an afternoon stream or like earlier in the week, but just due to schedule, it's happening now. And so we're gonna get into this. I have already seen somebody paint this live. I think Amber did it on Friday night on her stream on YouTube. She was sort of testing out the whole YouTube streaming thing. And so I watched her do it live. And so we're gonna get into this. I'm gonna do it slightly different. I've decided I'm gonna do the background in inks, and then I'm gonna do the painting section. I have both the Studio palette and 31 Purple Fish out. I'm leaning towards 31 Purple Fish just because I've been using the Studio palette a lot in stuff I haven't been posting, and I sort of just want to switch it up. But we'll see how I feel once I actually get to that section of this project. I'm also hoping that I'll get clean tape lines this time. I didn't last week, and it was annoying. Also, if you saw on the community tab, it is official. I will be attending the Chicago Pen Show, and that is very exciting. So if there's anything you would like to see content-wise, let me know, because I've been in touch with the organizers, and I have permission to pretty much film whatever I want. So if there's something you'd like to see, let me know. I have a few people I'm already lined up to talk with on camera, but I'm open to other suggestions as well. It should be a lot of fun, and getting to see friends in person, which will be great. I'm quite looking forward to it. Once I've put the painter's tape down, I am going to go over it with my thumb, probably, because it has been sort of not sticking all the way in the sort of seamed section. And I'd like a clean tape pull this video. I do really like this one. I think it was Amber's pick this week, and so I like it quite a lot. Not to say that I don't normally like them, but I think it's quite fun. And I'm doing background in inks, so I have chosen, we're sort of going to do a gradient thing. It's going to be a bit darker than the original background, but I think it'll still be okay. I've got a clean-ish palette. I thought it was clean. I'm thinking that these are just like water stains from the water softener. I'm gonna go with that. So let's set this up. And then, first I want the blue. I want the dark blue. All that shimmer at the bottom. Oh, so much fun. I think this was part of one of their fall releases. So some of the inks that I'm using today, Ferris Press sent to me, but the content I had to do with them was months ago for these releases, and so now I just get to do whatever I want with them. And so I do weird stuff with them, like this, where I'm using them in a painting. And I actually don't have Crystal Blue Legacy out on a palette yet, which was shocking. But I didn't use it in the coloring sheet one that I did a couple weeks ago, so it wasn't already out. because I've already seen somebody tackle this on live, I'm trying to be quite selective with how I tackle it. Because I already have seen the chameleon shifter in this. I've already seen somebody else work through it. And so that sort of feels like cheating. Normally I've only seen people's finished products, and that makes it easier in a way. Whatever I create, I create. But I was hanging out in Amber's live stream because she isn't super familiar with live streaming on YouTube and had some questions that I was answering for her on Instagram and then in her stream. So it's going to be interesting to see how I tackle this because I've already seen somebody tackle this. Yeah, normally I avoid watching everyone's videos of it because Madeline tends to do a video on her reels. And then we have Storied Blue. This is the green bottle though. This is the bottle that I got originally from Atlas, where it's not the actual color of the ink. And so I ended up getting a replacement from Atlas. I chose it because I think it's the right color for what I want. And so I chose it over the blue one also. I really like the blue one, and I don't like this nearly as much. And so I decided that we would sacrifice the color that I didn't like nearly as much. All right, let's wet this page. Will this be an absolute disaster? We'll see. I do use inks in all my fountain pens. I don't just paint with them. I currently have, I want to say 8 pens inked up that I write with all the time. I've got 3 sitting on my desk. I only write with fountain pens these days and have for months. But sometimes it's fun just to like play around and do weird stuff with fountain pen ink and other art supplies. And this week we're messing around with ink again because why not? I've got it in my collection, so why wouldn't I use it? I'm going to dilute them a little bit just so that they're not quite as intense. And we're going to switch out the water so that it's the shimmer water on my desk. Oh, that's not what I want. That's what I want. Okay. I want this like inky blue-green. All right. So, let's grab this. Do I recommend putting paintbrushes in your mouth? No. Do I do it all the time to hold them because I run out of hands? Yes. There's unfettered flight going in and bleeding under our tape. And now we'll let it dry a little bit. I should have realized how overpowering Crystal Blue Legacy was going to be. I knew it was overpowering as an ink, and I should have realized it was going to be overpowering in this, but I didn't, and you learn from your mistakes. No, whatever, I'll swatch after. All right, I'm gonna dry that before it gets any more weird lines. All right, not awful. Not as bad as I expected. It's a little bit streaky, but that is to be expected. And it actually looks quite similar to the background. So we're gonna just roll with it and continue. And now I need branches and buddy things. I think I am gonna go with 31 Purple Fish, purely because I want to paint with them. So let's take away the shimmer water. Let's replace it with the matte. Let's move all these inks somewhere. Inks, inks, inks. I think those buds are like Cherry Haze. And Cherry Haze and what? So let's pull the swatches all over here. It's Cherry Haze. I don't think they're Lizard Crimson. Let's go with Lunar Red. For the actual branches. Slate Brown. Sure. Your guppy color. Or maybe Lunar Rock. All right. Colors have been pulled. And now we get to get into the fun stuff, which is painting all the little lines. And I'm going to do this carefully and with my teeny tiny, that. Super specific there. I think it's a 3-0. I had another palette out, do I not? Thought I grabbed two. Oh, I did grab two. It's underneath the tape. So. Let's put these lines in. What brown do I actually want? I think I want Slate. I don't think I want Lunar Rock. I think Lunar Rock is the wrong brown for this. Push the reds out of the way so that I don't accidentally grab them, because that would be a very me thing to do, is to grab the wrong reds. Maybe this is too light. Maybe we're gonna do a mix. There, now we've got some variation in our branches due to the fact that I haven't mixed it all completely, which will lend itself to being a tree. Trees have some variation in their branches. And thank you. Good morning. It is a mix of these three Ferris wheel press inks. I thought Crystal Blue Legacy was going to be too dark. It seems to have worked. I've now mixed two Ferris wheel press browns to get the brown that I want for these branches. And now I'm gonna take Amber's advice and just like wing the branches, because there are so many little lines that I can't actually tell what belongs where. So I haven't mixed them in the bottles, but I mixed them on a palette. And I did that, I don't know if you've watched the coloring sheet video that I did a couple weeks ago. I did the same thing over there where I combined different colors to make the ones I wanted. Thank you. It's not an easy piece. I thought it felt like it was going to be an easy piece this week. And it was easy until we got into all these branches. And now I'm like less of a fan of it. Because there are just so many branches. And there's one that goes all the way across. So where are we going to start that? I guess we're going to start that here. And you just like, I guess I sort of just need to commit to a line. Oh, it was fun. The live stream is really long, but there is a short, I think it's like 25 minutes version, which isn't actually that short, but it was as short as I could edit it down to version that is up on the channel. I have so many more branches to put in. I do like this brown mix though. It's nicely different. Oh, yeah. It was, I used one of the new Ferris wheel press downloadable coloring sheets in it because I hadn't tried them when they first came out because life was a bit chaotic, but I finally had time to try them. And they're complicated, but they are fun. They're definitely not something you can give a small child unless like you want them to be quiet for hours and hours and hours. Actually, I think as like a 10 or 11-year-old, I might have really enjoyed it because I was very much a detail-oriented child. All right, we might leave the branches there for now and go back and add in some more later. But I think for now I want to dry it and start adding the flowers in, or the buds in, and then go back in and figure out where else I need to add branches. So the first layer of these I'm just going to do in Cherry Haze. I think I was about 11 when I got my first like real art kit. It was one of the wooden boxes that for a couple years Desserts made like wooden, they weren't filled with paints and stuff, they were just like wooden carrying cases for art supplies. And I got one of those that was filled with paper. I remember being really excited. Oh, since you missed the beginning, Chicago Pen Show, I'm attending. Is there any content you'd like to see specifically from the Chicago show? Seeing as you are one of the people that are very into the ink mixing videos. So I do have a darker red pulled as well, just for this first layer of bushes. I want to stick to the lighter red, and then I'll go in and do some of the darker stuff. I definitely need more branches. I've got too much empty space. Why am I dotting with that brush that has a really nice tip? Why am I not spotting with this brush that has a slightly less nice tip? Like, why am I ruining a liner brush for this? Why am I ruining a tiny liner brush for this? Did I absolutely wreck it? A little bit, yeah. Oh, at least it's only a $3 brush that I can replace. This is why I don't buy expensive tiny round brushes. The people that spend a whole bunch of money on their tiny round brushes, I don't get you. I go through too many. I forget which ones are supposed to be nice. I forget which ones I've used for what. I just buy the cheap ones and have like some that are really nice and some that are in like progressive stages of being beat up. And it works really well. as a system. I need more branches. All I can say is I need more branches. So we'll dry this layer and then I'll put in more branches. Once I'm done with this layer. Yes, I think my most expensive brushes are my Tintoretto 1327s, which I bought with a gift card that I won from a paint shop. They're over a year old. They're supposed to be travel brushes, but I use them every day and I don't treat them like they're travel brushes. They're synthetic squirrel. They're about $20 a brush and they are by far my favorite brushes. I got a 2 and a 6. I do think that if I was going to repurchase, these are the sizes I'd repurchase in. I sometimes wish I had a 0, but I find that I can get away with a 2 for pretty much everything. Like a 2 is small enough. And I'm so happy with them. I wouldn't have bought them if it wasn't for the gift card. Just because of how expensive they are to purchase. But they are lovely brushes. Because they are, I think at the time they were about $25 a brush. I think the 2 was about 20 and the 6 was about 25. I think now they're closer to 25 and 30. So they are costly, but for something I use every day, they have been worth it. The tip on my 2 is starting to go, unfortunately, which I'm a bit sad about. I hoped that they would last a little bit longer than a year because I got them January 2023, but it looks like they do sort of only last a year of daily use. So we're gonna dry this. I'm gonna add in some more branches and then we're gonna do this whole process again. All right, we're dry. Let's do this whole process again. Do I need more? Like this section in the photo, it's so busy. Painting wise, it's hard to get it that busy without this sort of turning into mud, which I'm trying to avoid. All right, we're gonna leave branches there. Thank you. I have to say, it's been nearly a year since I started to do Paint Your Style regularly. I did a couple when they first started in 2022, but I didn't start doing them regularly until April 2023. So it's the end of the month that'll have been a year since I started doing them regularly. I skipped a couple, but for the most part, I've done them all for the past year. And there's definitely been a change in how I tackle them. They're a lot easier to tackle now. And I think that helps. Like, I just go into them with a better plan these days. You always have edits. You always have to edit for a painting, especially when working small. Yeah. I think I've done the last, you're sitting next to me. I think like the last 7 or 8, I've all done this size. For no other reason than I'm just liking this size currently. I wasn't liking it a whole bunch last year. I was working on the Legion pads a lot last year, or 5x7s. And this year I've been really enjoying going back to these squares of paper that are pre-cut 4-inch squares from Amazon. They're just easy. And they're fun to work on. They're a nice size. They look good when the tape comes off. And I think that's just fun. We're going back in with the light red because I don't want to go back in super dark yet. We are going to go super dark for some of these branches, but I want to give it a little bit. Before I go in super dark, to add the dimension to this piece, because that really is what it's missing. It's just falling a bit flat, I'm finding. Yep, it is how you develop your own style. I have to say the 100-day challenge was a real test of my style, because there were some weeks that it was like I look back at them and go, oh yeah, that's totally my style. And then there's other weeks that I look at them and go, oh, I was just like treading water trying to finish this challenge. I looked back at them a couple days ago actually. And I also still can't believe it took until week 14 to do a monochrome week. Like, it was so long. I was okay until the last 16 days. Did you find it grueling watching it or participating? That's the question. Were the videos awful, or were you trying to participate as well? Because I know that even Madeline, by the end, was not feeling it. Yeah, I was okay until the last 16 days, and then, oh yeah, participating was rough. Again, okay until the last 16 days, and then I just like went, I can't. I'm done. And I filmed them all in one go. I went, I'm taking like 2 hours. We're going to film them all. They're going to be done. We're done with this. I don't know that I'd do it again. It was hard. I liked having a prompt every day because it meant that I didn't have to think about what I was creating every day. Like I knew what I was doing. That being said, I also really like Studio Katie's color challenge that I did in March. It's the second year I've participated. She's only run it 2 years. I've participated both years. And I've loved it both years. Like, it's just a fun challenge because of its simplicity, I find, where all she does is assign a color for every day and you get to do whatever you want. I like the open-endedness of it. And so I might go back to I feel that. March, I think it was March 1st. Was it March 1st? It couldn't have been March 1st. It might have been March 3rd. The first Sunday in March, my grandfather was admitted to the hospital. And he died on the 9th of March. And I remember sitting down on the Sunday, after the ambulance left and going, I need to film the next 2 weeks of this challenge. Life's about to get insane. And I filmed them, and they're the 2 weeks that I only used Holbein paints because that was all I had the brain energy for. And I sat down and I edited them. I haven't gone back to watch them. I assume they're super rough because I was editing and scheduling so quickly to get it done so that they were still going up to shorts and Instagram. I got shorts to Instagram and reels so that everything was done. And it was rough. But we were already so far into the challenge that I didn't want to give up at that point. And then we got to the last 16 days and I was just done. And I went, what are you doing? You filmed all of the other ones right before he died. You can finish the last 16 days. And so I just filmed them in one. They are hard. I would say that 30-day challenges are better. I just did one in March. I'm currently, actually, I was doing the 100-day challenge and a 30-day challenge at the same time in March. Again, don't recommend doing two challenges at the same time. I had scheduled myself to be very busy for March before March went very sideways, and that was both helpful and problematic. And I have learned from that mistake, and so I am currently only doing one challenge in April, which is of my own creation. I am slowly swatching my way through my entire palette. It is going to take a very long time, but I really enjoyed the trees for March, and so I want to continue them. And so we are going to continue them. Let's try these. All right. Yeah, 30-day challenges are easier. Like picking something that you like is easier. I know in the past, Studio Katie, I forget what her Instagram handle is, has been totally okay with people going back and redoing her color challenge. I did that last year because I got really sick partway through and went back in May and redid it. So if you want something easy, hers is nice because it's just colors. Other than that, though, who else's do I like? Is it Crafticland? It might be. I might be doing hers in May. She did one for March as well. March was too busy to add in a third challenge. I just couldn't. But I do have her prompt list saved from potentially May. I'm gonna add some cherry haze to some of these, just for some more dimension. No, this is Lunar Rock. All right. I would say the nice thing about Amber and Madeline's 100-day challenge was that it started Jan 1, whereas the actual 100-day challenge starts, I think, middle of February, which has always seemed odd to me. Like, it's a weird start date for a challenge, I find, so I liked that their challenge started Jan 1. Because it sort of gets, I always find that the beginning of January is the hardest time to figure out what to do content-wise. You're coming out of Christmas, you're coming out of sort of the end of the year where if you've been working with brands, you've had to push content because of people's releases. Like people's feeds, even if you haven't been working with brands, have been flooded with so much content. And you're just sort of burnt out after the holidays. And so I always find that creating content in January is really hard. So I did like that theirs started in January. It was just a very long challenge. So maybe I do half of it next year. I do the first half. Or alternate days. Things to think about. I do enjoy how easy it is to add dimension to blobs. Really, you just need a slightly darker color. In this case, Cherry Haze with then Lunar Rock over top is giving dimension to all of these. Yeah, exactly. I would probably, if it was the same prompt list next year, I would skip. I would probably do all of January because that gets you over the awkward period of content creation or art creation where you sort of still burnt out from the holidays. Tape bleed. Oh, 1 week. We will not have tape bleed. This is not that week. There we go, though. So, I'm quite happy with it. And let's do a swatch card. If I knew where my swatch cards were. I just had them. I just had it. Oh, it's on the floor. So, Stonehenge, warm white, because I haven't done a Jackson's order. I'm out of paper. Or out of my normal paper. There's our piece. Yes, exactly. not a plein air challenge, not, if I've learned anything from, when did I start my Instagram? 2019, fall 2019, I started my art page. So from then till now, if I've learned anything, it's that sometimes you just, one, challenges can either be fantastic or awful. I hosted a Use What You Own challenge for several months with an Instagram friend, and it was great. I think she continued to host it for a while after I stopped posting on Instagram as much. And it was super fun because it was all about using what you already owned in your palette and color matching to what you already owned versus buying new stuff. So at some point maybe that'll come back, because instead of giving people a prompt list, it was when I was still a lettering page actually, because that's how my page started. Started as a hand lettering page. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, so that might come back because that was fun. Because you were basically given this random color palette and you could paint whatever you wanted with it, but you just didn't know what colors you had for the week. Or the 3 day, I think it was every 3 days people got a new color palette, which was super fun. And we would switch up which of the two of us were choosing the color palette for the days, which was so much fun. And I would definitely go back to hosting that because that's a really fun way to push your skills as an artist. But there are still definitely challenges that I wouldn't participate in again. I wouldn't do, oh, what was it called? It was some floral challenge that I think I only made it to like day 3 or 4 of a like 30-day challenge, because I just don't do florals enough to do that. I think if Paint Your Style came out any more frequently than once a week, I wouldn't do it, because even sometimes once a week is hard. Actually, once a week isn't hard. It's the like days leading up to deciding how I'm going to tackle a piece that is challenging. These days, I actually, after I screenshot a piece, I don't look at it again until I sit down to film, which I think helps. Like, I've stopped focusing on what the piece is during the week, and so I don't actually look at it until I sit down to film this video. This week I did because I saw Amber paint it live, but normally I don't get to see it again until I sit down to film. And I think that helps with challenges, is like not actually focusing on everything. Where's my Tintoretto? Because otherwise it's really easy to get stuck in copying. Yeah. Oh, that's too close. It's gonna be hard to write a label on. All right, and there's our lovely swatch card. And I think the video for this went up yesterday. It's been a very, I had all this filmed content that like didn't fit into my normal upload schedule, and so lots of it got dropped this week. So there's no shortage of things to watch. What's this? Oh, have you been sitting for too long? There. Now you've got ink. Cherry Haze. FWP. I think you just don't like this paper. That's fair, it's pretty textured. FWP. And there we go. The piece, the swatch, the Waterman. It's inked with Mont Blanc, which there is a video on up. I believe it's called Luxury Ink for a Vintage Pen or something like that. I'm trying to figure out how to get back into the YouTube algorithm. So titles are a bit weird, and thumbnails on a lot of stuff have been updated. So we'll see if that works. So thanks for watching. I really like this paint your style, actually. I wish there wasn't tape bleed, but I seem to be having an issue with this roll of painter's tape. So you can't win them all. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah. Happy Wednesday.